Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Bill with NotaryCoach.com. It's March 1st, 2018, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about how many times you should check your documents for errors after a loan signing. And I'll tell you kind of the process that I use. It's kind of next level. I know that there's many notaries and signing agents out there who do not do this. I'm going to encourage you, especially if you're in the beginning stages of your new business and your new career, to do this, because this is some next level stuff. This is what will help make sure you do the job correctly. You have that competence. It's going to boost your confidence. Every time you do something right and it moves forward, that boosts your confidence and it just fuels your engine as you go forward. And I also want to just reiterate, guys, that correcting errors isn't so much about the document, although that's obviously very important. It's critical to somebody's transaction. But this is more about the relationships, because whether it's a signing company or a direct escrow company, how you correct mistakes when you do make them, when they slip through the cracks, makes all the difference. So keep your big picture in mind when you're creating your strategy here. This isn't so much about, oh, missed an initial, I'll get to that because I don't find it important, or yeah, I'll get that fixed. Whatever way it goes, remember, who's ever in charge of making sure you correct the mistake has a lot of say in your future transactions. So you want to stay in integrity, number one. That's what this is all about. You want to be proud of what you do. You want people to have confidence to refer you and use you again in the future. So when it comes down to it, the answer to how many times should you check your loan document package for errors is 4 times. That's kind of the optimal time. You can do as many more than that as you want, but here's basically how that's going to look. I count number 1 as when you're actually going through each document. You're presenting it to the signer, giving a brief description of it. They are taking action on it, whether that's signing, dating, and initialing, or all 3. You're going to take the document back, you review that. That's number 1. When you get to the end of the loan package, and sometimes there's a survey, sometimes there's an additional questionnaire from a title company to help prove the identity, whatever it might be, I give that to the borrower. And while they're filling that out, the survey or the ID statement, I will go through and check the documents again. And I actually tell them, all right, guys, here's a couple of surveys. I know they appreciate your feedback. While you take your time doing that, I'm going to go through our document package and make sure I didn't miss anything, so we don't do anything that affects the closing on this. Most people are grateful that you are taking the time to double check your work. So you're going to go through literally every single document and probably move relatively quickly, but it's okay to allot 5 to 7 minutes for this, just to make sure you get it correct. So if you do find something, you can fix it immediately. And then number 3, after you've shaken hands, you said goodbye, congratulated them if it's appropriate, I go out to my vehicle, and I usually get in my vehicle, pull around the corner, or if I know there's a Starbucks nearby, I might swing by the Starbucks and sit down, and I check the documents again for the 3rd time. The 4th time is immediately before I drop off the documents or for shipping, or if I'm walking into a client's office, an escrow client's office, and dropping them off. I check the documents one more time. That's the 4th time. Now, that's not necessarily a guarantee that you're going to catch every error. There is something about you're still in the same state of mind. So if you've missed something that's real obvious, there's a good chance you might miss it 2, 3, even the 4th time when you go through that, especially if it's something you just don't realize. But here's the way errors work in this business. In the beginning, it might be a little more about maybe not being familiar with the documents or not knowing exactly what you need to do. That's okay. That's why you have mentors. If you're part of the Sign and Thrive group, that's why I urge people to do document review calls with me, either right before a signing or right after a signing, so you can ask those questions. You can even ask me during a signing if there's something that comes up and you don't recognize. But I encourage people to review documents ahead of time too. And if you have those types of questions, we can go through that in the beginning. But really, the reason that errors happen is the number one reason is lack of presence. It really has nothing to do with ability or experience. although that plays a little bit of role in it, but it's your lack of presence. So something in your head is distracting you from the task at hand. Sometimes that's because you're having an amazing conversation, you're just hitting it off with them, you're just talking, and you just miss an initial. Sometimes that's because you've got some stuff going on in your own head, maybe in your own life, or maybe you're rushing, that you're behind and you're just not staying focused on where you're at. So you can eliminate probably 90% of the chance at making errors by clearing your head and staying present in the moment. And then the rest of those actually does come with experience, mentorship, and things like that. So there are ways to mitigate all of this. You will probably never be 100% error free. Those do come up all the time. Even as, the owner of a signing company, when I hire signing agents from around the country that have 20 years experience, on forms that you would think everybody knows about, they make mistakes. Sometimes you're just not there and you miss the errors. And remember that how you handle those mistakes, taking ownership, dropping everything to get it fixed so you can mend that, not only the document, but you're mending the relationship that you have with that signing company or that client. All right, guys, I hope you find that helpful. Thank you so much for watching. This is Bill with NotaryCoach.com.